कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविता शाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम् वाल्मीकिर्मुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानादं को न याति परां गतिम् यः पिबन् सततं रामचरितामृतसागरम् अतृप्तस्तं मुनिं वन्दे प्राचेतसमकल्मषम् गोष्पदीकृतवाराशिं मशकीकृतराक्षसम् रामायण महामाला रत्नं वन्दे नीलात्मजम् अञ्जनानन्दनं वीरं जानकी शोकनाशनं कपीशम् अक्षहन्तारं वन्दे लङ्काभयङ्करम् मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र गतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारी परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकं वाल्मीकिगिरिसम्भूता रामसागरगामिनी पुनादिभुवनं पुण्या रामायण महानदी वेदवेद्ये परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदप्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम् रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः मङ्गलं कौसलेन्द्राय महनीय गुणाब्धये चक्रवर्ती तनुजाय सार्वभौमाय मङ्गलं सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय सब संतन की जय। Continuing on the description of the leap of Hanumanji, as I have been saying, the description by words elaborately is to bring us into that atmosphere of the mightiness of Hanumanji, beauty of his entire way of taking that task into himself. Also, how determined he was in accomplishing what he wanted to, not for himself, but for his Bhagavan. Yesterday, I was talking on the subject of what is known as Ashraya. And Bhagavan says, in Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, the people, the devotees who are ready to take shelter in me, Mam Ashritya Yadantiye. In that context, he says, Ashraya does not mean dependence. Ashraya means support. What is the difference between these two? When a person becomes dependent on someone else or something else, he loses his self-effort. A small child, which is only a few months old, is entirely depending upon the caretaker, mother. It cannot do anything on its own, lying on the cradle. Everything has to be done. But then the child cannot remain like that. It has to grow up to start doing on its own. And so in this beginning stage, the child is completely, entirely depending upon the mother, and it is helpless. It cannot do on its own anything. Should a devotee be like that, then Bhagavan does not like such kind of people. Which is to say that everything is, you do it. I'm not going to do anything. So the question comes, what is that we say as thy will be done? Thy will be done means I do my best, but what will happen is according to your will. Thy will be done. That is one aspect of it. Second is, whatever I do, for your sake I'm doing. That also thy will be done. Thy will be done means whatever you consider as the result will happen. Or whatever I do is for you. So I do it, not that I don't. Whatever I have, whatever effort I can put, I should do it. But I need your support to make it the way you want it to be done. The result that you want it to happen. So therefore, Mam Ashritya Yadantiye, Bhagavan Krishna says. Having taken shelter in me, but continuing to put your own effort. Like if you prepare for the exam and then pray to the Lord and then go and write your answers, then it is correct. I don't read anything, but I want to pass the exam. I leave it to you. How is that possible? Without writing anything, you will pass? Oh, you can. By giving money. So here, भगवान के लिए मैं कर रहा हूं, but मैं कर रहा हूं ना, करूंगा, या प्रयत्न करूंगा ही. So here, this way, he kapivadascha balavan megavadascha nirgataha sagaram bhima nirhradam kampayama suhu brusham masatuhu brusham. That's what we saw in the 70. Vikarshan nurmijalani.
Vikarshan nurmijalani.
Brihanti lavanambasi.
Brihanti lavanambasi.
Upluve kabishardulaha.
Upluve kabishardulaha.
Vikaran nivarodasi.
Vikiran nivarodasi.
Mekamandara sankashan.
Merumandara sankashan.
Udgatan sumaharnave.
Udgatan sumaharnave.
Atyakraman mahavegaha.
Atyakraman mahavegaha.
Tarangan ganayanniva.
Tarangan ganayanniva.
Tasya vega samudgrishtam.
Tatyavega samudgrishtam.
Jalam sajaladam tada.
Jalam sajaladam tada.
Ambarastam vivabhraje.
Ambarastam vibhraje.
Sharad Brahm iva adatam.
Sharad Brahma ivatatam.
Timina kakshaya kurmaha.
Timinakrakshayasha kurmaha.
Timinakra Jashaha, sorry. Timinakra Jasha Kurmaha
तिमिनक्र जशाः कूर्माः
Drishyante Vivrutastada
दृश्यन्ते विवृतास्तदा
Vastrapakarshane
वस्त्रापकर्षणेनैव
Sharirani Sharirinam
शरीराणि शरीरिणां
Ramamanam Samikshyata
क्रममाणं समीक्ष्याथ
Bujaga Sagarang Bujaga Sagarangamaha
भुजगा सागरं गमाः
Yom Nitam Kabishardulam
योम्नितं कपिशार्दूलं
Suparnamiva Menire.
सुपर्णमिव मेनिरे.
So here, as he was going into that in the sky with such a speed, Lavanambasi Brihanti Vikarshan Urmijalani, of the many Brihanti, many Urmijalani, varieties of high and low waves that were there, Vikarshan attracting, as though pulling it along with him. With the speed when he was going, he is as though pulling the entire waves along with him. Pupluve, as he was sleeping, as he was rising in, and Kabishardulaha Vikaraniva. He was the pushing. Also, he was Rodasi, the very various Vikaraniva, as though he is disturbing the interspace also, as we've seen before also. See, the interesting part is between the sky and the sea, it looked like, say, when you look at a large ocean, you almost see at the end of it as though the sky is touching the water. Actually, it is not, but it will appear like as though the sky is touching the water. So he is, as he was moving, there is no, you cannot definitely see the difference between the sky and the sea. Both are blue in color anyways. So when he was moving, it is as though he's tearing it apart. You understand? It's as though, because it's both are so close to each other, at some point, he's just moving in between. As though he's tearing them apart. Meru Mandara Sankashan Udgatan, equal to that of Meru Mandara, the Meru mountain, Meru Mandara Akamandara Sankashan, Meru Mandara Sankashan Udgatan Sumaharnave, as he was lifting himself up and proceeding on, Atyakraman, as he was transcending, crossover, Mahavegaha Tarangan Ganayan. He was as though he is counting on the waves, tearing apart. And Vikarani was at least. So he is counting as though the waves are appearing, and as he is flying, he is counting all the waves. Ganayan niva tarangan. Tasya vega samudgrushtam jalam. Because of his movement, extraordinarily speedy movement, Jalam sajaladam yada, all the waves and also the clouds, jalada, sajaladam, along with the clouds, ambarastam, which are all there in the sky, ambarastam sajalatam, vipabraje, and he shone in that very condition, sharad abram iva atatam. Just like during the autumn season, where the clouds are plenty, ready to give out the rain, they are lined up. In the same way, he was shining up there, and as he was moving, all the water as well, waves as well as the clouds are lining up. You might have seen when the jet goes, a jet plane goes, if you watch it, it's very like a dot, it moves, but it creates a kind of smoke on the background. And you can see there very, what do you call, the cluster of smoke, or so it looks like from the distance as though the clouds have lined up on the same way as the jet has moved. So in that way, some time back there was a particular flight, Concorde, between US and I think New York and France somewhere. Concorde is a flight. They later on they stopped that because it is going in the speed of a time speed. That's fast. So it's the speed of time. It is as though transcending even time, that speed in which it was going. And because it was going in that speed, the path in which it was moving, all the buildings and other things got disturbed. There, the entire structure started to break down. It was so powerful when it goes into the sky and tearing it apart. It has become extremely dangerous. So then they stopped that they brought it down and they no more are flying such kind of flights. Even now, when some of the flights nearby, that's why in our Orange County area, they also wanted to have one more international airport there, then everybody stopped it. Even here in Santa Ana Airport, flights cannot go after 10 o'clock, or cannot land or take off after 10 o'clock and not before 7 o'clock. Because it's pretty much within the city limits, number one. Number two is that the amount of smoke and the other things, pollution that it creates is unbelievably high. And this particular airport here, you need a special pilot for that to take off and get in, because it is so narrow strip of runway. You might have seen, except when those gone, often you will notice that sometimes the flight also they say, please be careful, put on the seat belt, because here while landing and taking off, it is very extremely narrow. So when it's coming down, it comes down very fast and stop. The coming down is so sudden. Similarly, while taking off, because of the short space that they have of runway, suddenly it will take off. So you have to be very careful. If you do not properly, adjust yourself, you will jerk. So what it means is that when Hanumanji was flying with such a speed, it looked like as though all the clouds have gathered up behind him, like a row of them. So Sharad Brahma Iva Atatam spread out. And the aquatic creature, Timi, Nakra, the sharks, as well as Nakra, the crocodiles, Jashaha, the fishes, Kurmaha, the tortoise, Drishyante Vitrutaha, they are all so afraid. Tada. Like what? Vastra apakarshana iva, karshanena iva, like as though a person who had been wearing clothes and the clothes were removed. Sharirani sharirinam vastra apakarshana iva. Like a person who is wearing clothes, suddenly somebody takes away all our clothes. So how you feel? Not only ashamed, but you suddenly feel, what? The shock comes. Similarly, they all were living in that quiet motion and such a speed in which it was going, without even being noticed properly, something happened now. So they were so afraid. Vibruta. So there, and Kramamanam Samikshya Ata Bhujagaha Sagarangamaha Bhujagaha. So those snakes which were living in the water, Kramamanam, the one who is thus leaping, going, moving fast, Samiksha, seeing them, Vyomni, in the space, Tam Kabishardulam, that very Hanuman, who is the tiger among the monkeys, they consider him as Suparnamiva Menire. They consider him like a Garuda. Of course, all the snakes are so afraid of Garuda. So when this one moved so fast, if an eagle, we might have seen, if you have seen, not seen in the TV, etc., I mean, in the channels as a history or, not history, or the Discovery Channel, Nature Channel, the speed in which they come to pick up the fish or a snake from the sky, it is much faster than a moving tiger or a cheetah. In a cheetah on the land, how fast it moves to catch its prey. Faster than that is the movement of an eagle in picking up the prey. So speedily they'll come from the sky and pick up the thing and go away. And imagine, it's not only the snake, but also huge fishes it will pick up. And the weight of the whole fish has to be picked up by the nose, by the beak, as well as by the feet. Pick up and go. And they have to be extremely precise. It's like what do you call that? Surgical attack. Nowadays, with the surgical attack, the missiles that are, employed by the army, American or any other country, they are surgical attack, meaning they go precisely to the target and nothing else, attack and come back. So here, when Hanumanji was moving in such a speed, even the snakes that were living in the water, they were thinking, oh my, this my Parama Vairi, that is Garuda, has come. They had to hide themselves wherever they possible. Dashayojana Vistirna.
Dashayojana Vistirna.
No, Sarga is not there. Trimshadyojana Mayata.
Trimshadyojana Mayata.
Chayava Narasimhasya.
Chayava Narasimhasya.
Jabe Charutaramat.
Jave Charutara Bhavat.
Shvedabra Vanarajiva. Shvedapraganarajiva.
Shvetabhravanarajiva.
Vanaraji or Ganaraji? Abravana must be. Okay. Vayuputranugamini.
Vayuputranugamini.
Asya sa Shushubhe Chaya.
Tatyasa Shushubhe Chaya.
Patita Lavanambasi.
Patita Lavanambhasi.
Shushubhe Samahateja.
Shushubhe Samahateja.
Mahakayo Mahakapihi.
Mahakayo Mahakapihi.
Vayumarge Niralambe.
Vayumarge Niralambe.
Pakshavaniva Parvataha.
Pakshavaniva Parvataha.
Yena Sovyati Balavan.
Yena Savyati Balavan.
Vegena Kapikunjaraha.
Vegena Kapikunjaraha.
Yena Margana Sahasa.
Tena Margena Sahasa.
Yena is there. Okay, printing is not. Margena. Okay. Tayena Margena Sahasa. Droni Krita Ivarnavaha.
Droni Krita Ivarnavaha.
Apade Pakshi Sanghanam.
Apate Pakshi Sanghanam.
Pakshiraja Iva Vrajan.
Pakshiraja Iva Vrajan.
Hanuman Meghajalani.
Hanuman Meghajalani.
Prakarshan Maruto Yata.
Prakarshan Maruto Yatha.
Panduraruna Varnani.
Panduraruna Varnani.
Neelamanjishtakani cha.
Neelamanjushtakani cha.
Kapina Krishyamanani.
Kapina Krishyamanani.
Mahabrani Chakashire.
महाभ्राणि च काशिरे.
Dashayosana Vistirna, the ocean that he was crossing is 80 miles wide and 240 miles length. Think about it. Wide 30 yojanas. 1 yojana is 8 miles. Sorry. Yes. 10 yojana is 1 yojana is 8 miles. So 10 yojana is 80 miles. 80 miles Vistirna. Dasha yojana Vistirna. And then Trimshad 30, which is 30 into 8, 240 miles. Yojanam Ayata, and that is the long 240, 80 by 240 miles. So it's probably the geology people, they should go and check up whether exactly that is the condition right now of the Indian Ocean between here and Lanka. Chaya, so when he was going, Ayata, Vanarasimhasya Chaya, Jave Vanarasimhasya Chaya, as the speed of the, okay, it is not the size of the ocean, it is the size of the shadow of Hanuman. Chaya, Sanarasimhasya Jave, as he was moving. Charu Tara Bhavat. It's so lovely to see the huge shadow, which is of that width and length. 80 miles width, 240 miles long. The very shadow of him. Then I think about the ocean, how big that is. Shveda Abra Vana Rajiva. Rajiva means, Raji is as a row. Shveda Abra Vana. So it is like a cluster of white clouds, row of white clouds. Vayuputra Anugamini, which is following him. Tasya sa Shushube Chaya Patita Lavanambase. Even of that, as even he was moving, Tasya va sa Shushube Chaya Patita. Even that, the Chaya of him is in the Lavanambasi, in that Lavana salt, Lavanambas salty water. It appeared on that as well. Mahateja, Mahakaya, Mahakavihi. Sushube, he shone, S-H-O-N-E. He was shone, he was shining. Vayumarge, Niralambe, as he was going in the Vayumarga, that is in the space, Niralambe, without any support. Of course, mentally he was supported by Bhagavan. In the heart, Bhagavan was there. But physically there is no support. He is suspended in the sky, moving fast. And Pakshavaniva Parvata, like a mountain with wings. A mountain with wings, how it is moving in the sky without any support. Palavan Vegena Kapikunjaraha Yena Aso Yati. In this way, as the Kapikunjaraha, the elephant among the monkeys, Balavan, strong, with speed as he was going, Tena Margena Sahasa, as he was moving in that speed in the sky, the water, Arnavaha, Dhonikrita. Dhonikrita means like a cup, Drona. It, because of speed, is created such a vacuum there between him and the water, and that has created a valley there. It's like a bowl. The water has created a valley within itself. Apade Pakshasanghanam Pakshiraja Eva Vrajan. Pakshasanghanam Pakshiraja Eva Vrajan, as he is going like that of the Garuda. In Pakshiraja is here Garuda. Pakshisanganam apadi, as the Yeah. As the Pakshi, all the various birds are falling apart because of the presence of these Garuda, as though Hanuman Megajalani Prakarshan Marutho Yata. Marutaha Yata Hanuman, like that of the wind, he was Megajalani Prakarshan, the net of clouds. So when Pakshi Raja comes, he is drawing all the birds to itself and moving. You might have seen sometime a group of birds going together. This is such a beautiful scenery. One will be going in the front and all of them, like an arrow. You might have seen. Like all of them following the leader. In the same way, when Garuda is moving, all the follow them. All the birds will follow. Because interesting thing is they cannot be against him anyway. If he's against Garuda, you'll destroy on the way. So it's better to go behind. So sometimes the leaders are so arrogant, the others will only just follow, because if you go in front of him, he will just chew you. So just like the birds will follow, apada means apade, the same Brajan, it is the same way. Clusters of the clouds were following him. Pandura Aruna Varnani, Pandura white, Aruna red, Neela blue, Manjushta is yellow. Pandura Aruna Varnani, Neela Manjushta Kanicha, Kapina Akrishyamanani, Maha Abrani, Chakashire. The clouds of these different kind of colors, red, white, yellow, blue, colored, various kinds of clouds. So depending upon the shining of the sun on them, they are all Kapina Akrishyamanani, being drawn by this very monkey, Mahabranani, Maha Abrani, the great clouds. Chakashiri, they were shining. Pravishannabrajalani.
Pravishannabrajalani.
Nishpadanscha punah punah.
Nishpatamscha punah punah.
Prachannascha prakashascha.
Prachannascha prakashascha.
Chandramaiva drishyate.
Chandramaiva drishyate.
Plavamanam tu tam drishtva.
Plavamanam tu tam drishtva.
Plavagam tvaritam tada.
Plavagam tvaritam tada.
Vavrushuστatra pushpani.
Vavrushuστatra pushpani.
Devagandharvadanavaha.
Devagandharvadanavaha.
Tatapa nahitam suryaha.
Tatapanahitam suryaha.
Plavantam vanareshwaram.
Plavantam vanareshwaram.
Shisheva cha sada vayu.
Tisheve cha tada vayu.
Sheve is the correct. Ramakaryartha siddhaye.
Ramakaryartha siddhaye.
Rishayastustavaschainam tuštuvuschainam.
Rishayastustuvrushchainam.
Plavamanam vihayasa.
Plavamanam vihayasa.
Jaguscha deva gandharvaha.
Jaguscha deva gandharvaha.
Shamsanto vanaukasam.
Prashamsanto vanaukasam.
Nagastu tuštuvur yaksha.
Nagascha tuštuvuryaksha.
Rakshamsi vividani cha.
Rakshamti vividhani cha.
Rakshas sarve kapivaram.
Rikshas sarve kapivaram.
Rakshya. Sahasa vigataklamam.
Sahasa vigataklamam.
As he was going there and the clouds were all over and he was entering into the clouds, Pravishan Abrajalani, from into the net of clouds he was entering, Nishpadanscha, and coming out, Punah Punah, again and again. might have seen when you see a flight coming or going in the sky, you will see suddenly it appears to be not there. Why? It is behind the clouds. Then again it will appear. It was looking like prachannascha prakashascha chandrama iva drishyate. Like that of the moon, which sometime appearing to be hiding behind the clouds, sometime it is coming out of the clouds. In the same way, Hanuman also is seen hidden in the cloud as he entered and coming out of the clouds. So beautiful it was. Just imagine that. Plavamanam tu tam drishtva, seeing him leaping that way, plavagam tvaritam yata. Plavagam, the one who is leaping, that one to Pravamanam, as he was tvaritam, quickly. Vuvrushuhu. Vrush means to, varshati. Varshati means to shower. So here, vuvrushuhu avarshante hu tatra pushpani. The Devagandharvas, Danavaha, all of them have started to throw, or to shower the flowers onto him, obviously understanding him to be Ramaduta, the very messenger of Sri Rama, going with a great purpose. They all were very happy. They are able to recognize the greatness of Hanuman, and they started to shower the flowers there. Deva Gandharva Danava Pushpani Vibrushu Datra. And Tam Suryaha Nahi Tatapa. Even as he was going much closer to the sun, but Surya did not burn him. Plavantam Vanareshwaram Na Tatapa Nahi Tatapa. And Vayu Ramagaryas Karyartha Siddhaye Sadacha Sisheva. Tadacha Sisheva. Sisheva means it also served him like the flight. Some of the flights land earlier than scheduled. Why? There is favorable wind. Favorable wind, so that has helped the flight to come faster than usual. When there is opposite wind, it will delay. So here, the wind god, obviously, knowing that it is my own son who is doing the work of Sri Rama, it started to serve him. Sisheva. So, save, sevate. So, it is in English also, the same became serve. Sevate, serving. So, perfect past of that is Sisheva. Sisheva. Vayu. Rishayaha tushtuvuhu. All the rishis started to praise him. Cha enam plavamanam, this one who is sleeping. Vihayasa plavamanam, into the sky as he was sleeping. As he was leaping, not sleeping, leaping. And Devagandharvaha juguhu, jaguscha. What are jagu? Jagam is deep again. Perfect past of gai. Gai means gayati. Gai gayati, sings. So that jage, perfect past, jaguhu is become plural of that. So jaguscha, they started to sing about the praise of him. Prashamsantaha vanokasam. The praising the glory of him, that very monkey, which is Janokasam, one who is a dweller in the forest. Nagascha, the Nagas were there also of a divine origin. Tushtuvuhu praised him. Yakshaha rakshamsi vividanicha, and also Yakshaha, the protectors and guardians, Rakshaha and Vividani, varieties of them. Sarve Kapivaram Prekshya, seeing the Kapivaram, the best of the monkeys, Sahasa Vigata Klamam, and moving so effortlessly without any kind of tiredness. Klama Rahitam, Vigata Klamam, without any effort. So, see, sometimes it appears, even though there is a lot of effort is involved, when a flight takes off and then starts to glide into the sky, and it looks like, so smoothly it is going. But to smoothly it has to go, it has put all the effort in the beginning to take off that point. As I have said previously also, a well-trained musician or instrumentalist, or any profession for the matter, when he or she engages in that particular task, you look at, or a tennis player or any other player who has trained himself so well. And when you see the basketball, etc., from such a distance, from such a corner, it straight goes into that. Whereas you stand right in front of it also, when you put, nothing happens. It just goes to the ring and comes back. Whereas a well-trained, day and night, working so much, when a person puts it, he's so sure it has to go, because he has done it some 1,000 times. And that particular kind of hitting the ball or throwing the ball has been done by him 1,000 times. And 10,000 times he had actually failed. Out of that, so much of training, he knows exactly what has to be done. So therefore, when he puts it and when it goes into the hook, wow, everybody cheers and claps. Why? Not because it went in, because he has put so much of effort, training he had given to himself, and because of which he was able to do it effortlessly. When a singer also sings their particular raga, and if you are really, not me, but if you know how the difficulties that alapana, and when effortlessly the person sings, the clap is not for that, clap is for the effort that he has put, which we have not noticed before, which we have not seen. But we know without that effort he had put, you would not have done that. So here also, when Hanumanji is moving such a speed, so effortlessly, without any tiredness, Vigataklamam, it is because now two things. One, of course, he has that strength, he had that skill, all those are fine, but his total dedication to the task. Leaving aside everything else, mind is focused on one thing. Bhagavan ke liye kar raha hu, इसमें कोई विघ्न नहीं आएगा, नहीं आने देगा Bhagavan. Then Bhagavan will not allow any vigna to come. So I'm sure, I'm confident. So that how many of us have that faith? And we have to take, even at home when we have to take a decision, etc., we bury our head, we become so worried, so anxious. The anxiety only shows lack of faith. Jo hona hai, hona hi hoga. Whatever has to happen. That's what in Mukundamala also said. Yatyad bhavyam bhavatu bhagavan purva karmanurupam etat prartham mama bahumado janma janmantarepi. May I have this attitude that whatever has to happen according to will of the Lord, let it happen. I'm not going to worry about this. But I will put effort to the extent I should. I cannot compromise on that. So here, Hanumanji is the best example of such a dedicated devotee, completely taking the support of the Lord and doing his task excellently, with great efficiency. Tasmin plavagada shardule.
Tasmin plavaga shardule.
Plavamane hanumati.
Plavamane hanumati.
Ikshvakukulamanaarti.
Ikshvakukulamanaarthi.
Chintayamasa sagaraha.
Chintayamasa sagaraha.
Sahayam vanarendrasya.
Sahayam vanarendrasya.
Yadinaham hanumataha.
Yadinaham hanumataha.
Karishyami bhavishyami.
Karishyami bhavishyami.
Sarvavacho vivakshatam.
Sarvavacho vivakshatam.
Ahamikshvakunatena.
Ahamikshvakunathena.
Sagarena vivardhitaha.
Sagarena vivardhitaha.
Ikshvaku sachivaschayam chayam.
Ikshvaku sachivachayam.
Tannarhatyavasaditum.
Tannarhatya vasaditum.
Tata yata tata maya vigadavyam.
तथा मया विधातव्यम्
Vidadavyam, correct. Vishrameta yata kapihi.
विश्रमेत यथा कपिः
Vishrameta. Shesham cha mayi vishrantah.
शेषं च मयि विश्रान्तः
Sukhi seti tarishyati. Sukhi sota tarishyati.
सुखी सोऽति तरिष्यति
Iti krutva matim sadvim.
इति कृत्वा मतिं साध्वीं
Samudrachannamambasi.
समुद्रश्चन्नमम्भसि
Hiranyanabam mainakam.
हिरण्यनाभं मैनाकम्
Uvacha girisattamam.
उवाच गिरिसत्तमम्
Here Sati Saptami. Tasmin plavaga shardule plavamane hanumati. All of them in Sapta. While thus then in the event as Hanuman had started to as moving in the sky, Ikshvakukulamanarti Sagaraha Chintayamasa. The Sagara is the Lord of waters, Varuna. But where Varuna is a god, but Sagara is the king. Lord or Devata is Varuna, but Sagara is the king. King of oceans. A river is not called Sagara. So, here Sagaraha, the king of the oceans, he started to think, because a long time back, when the whole ocean was dried up because of a curse, it is because of the efforts of Bagheera, the Sagara was created. The ocean was created because he dug the earth and brought the waters and all that. So, therefore, Sagara is very obliging and loyal to Ikshvaku dynasty. Therefore, Ikshvaku Kulamanarti Sagaraha Chintayamasa. He started to think. Vanarendrasya sahayam yedi naham karishyami. If I do not support the Vanarendra, the Hanumataha, Vanarendrasya sahayam help, yedi naham karishyami. If I don't extend my help to him, Vivakshatam sarva vachyo bhavishyami. I will become subject to ridicule by all those people who are capable of speaking. Vivakshatam sarva vachya. Vachya means subject to a ridicule, subject to criticism. Bhavishyami. Aham ikshvagunatena sagarena vivarditaha. I have come to this mighty presence of being a huge collection of water because of the Sagara, the king Sagara, who originally one of the kings of the Ikshvaku dynasty, is also known as Sagara. And because of whose blessings, because of which I have come to be able to become this big, this grown up. Aham Ikshvaku natena sagarena vivarditaha Ikshvaku Sachivaha ayam. This very monkey that is flying on the sky, crossing the ocean, is none other than one of the ministers of the Ikshvaku dynasty, because obviously he is doing a work according to the command and direction of Rama. And anybody who is thus under the direction and command of Rama is considered as one of the counselors of Ikshvaku. Therefore, Ikshvaku Kula Sachiva ayam, Sishta ayam, Tanna arhati avasaditum. Avasaditum tat na arhati. For him to become failure, I cannot allow. Meaning what? As he was leaping on the ocean, he probably will get tired, because this Indian Ocean between, in Bharata Kanda and the Sri Lanka Kanda, Lanka Kanda. This is not easy to cross by sky. Enormous effort is necessary, and he should not fail. I cannot allow it to happen. Avasadidam tat na arhati. Tata, therefore, maya vidatavyam. I have to provide him what? Yata kapihi vishrameta, as the monkey takes rest. I have to provide something by which it can take rest. Vishrameta. Shesham vishrantaha. Shesham mayu vishrantaha. Provided by me that very relaxing or a place to relax or to recover himself. Shesham sukhi saha aditarishyati. Later part of the rest part of it, he will surely be able to complete it. The thing is, like when you go for a long flight, this is not that what is called layover. Layover. What is layover means? You are supposed to take rest at that point, as much as the flight also needs a rest. It has been flying for continuously 10, 12, 15 hours. Going to India is 24 hours, let us say. Either in the halfway through or sometime it will stop by refueling. Refueling is also, because some of the flights can actually go 24 hours without a stop also, but then the flight engine will be extremely strained. So therefore, they bring it down 1 hour or an hour and a half or 2 hours, sometime more, and they will even change the flight, change the aircraft. Sometimes it is the same, sometimes it is changed there. Why? It has to take rest. The pilot has to take rest, or pilot may change. The flight has to take rest. The crew has to take rest. Passengers also have to take rest. Everything has to be done. And then again, they come and clean up the entire place and then make it fresh, remove all the old air, put a new airflow will be there. All that, so that it can efficiently complete the journey. In the same way, it is necessary for me to give this provision to relax, to take some rest. And after having taken that, rest of the things he will do. So that I should do. Thinking this, iti kritva matim, sadvim matim kritva, this nobility of thinking having made, or nobly thinking, samudra channam ambasi, hiranyanabam mainakam kirisattamam uvacha. Now, Sagara addressed Mainaka. Mainaka is a mountain that was hidden inside the water. Samudra Channam Ambasi Hiranyanabam, which had with the center of itself as golden peak, so to say. Mainakam, Girisattamam Mainaka, the best of the Giris, he addressed that particular mountain. What did he say to them? Now you have to help me. But Tvam iha surang sanganam.
Tvam iha surang sanghanam.
Devarajna mahatmana.
Devarajna mahatmana.
Patala nilayanam hi.
Patala nilayanam hi.
Parigha sanniveshitaha.
Parigha sanniveshitaha.
Tvamesham jnataviryanam.
Tvamesham jnataviryanam.
Punarevotpatisyatam.
Punarevotpatisyatam.
Patalasya prameyasya.
Patalasya prameyasya.
Dvaramavritya tishtasi.
Dvaramavritya tishtasi.
Tiryagurdvamadaschaiva.
Tiryagurdvamadhaschaiva.
Shaktiste shailavarditum.
Shaktiste shailavarthitum.
Tasma sanjodayami tvam.
Tasmat sanchodayami tvam.
Uttishta giri sattama.
Uttishta giri sattama.
Ayesha gabishardulaha.
Saesha kapishartulaha.
Tvamuparyeti viryavan.
Tvamu paryeti viryavan.
Hanuman Ramakaryarthi.
Hanuman Ramakaryarthi.
Bhimakarma kama Bhimakarma kamaplutaha.
Bhimakarma khamaplutaha.
Tvam iha asura sanganam patada nilayanam parigaha devarajna mahatmana samniveshitaha. You, tvam, iha, here at this point, here in this very place where you are is established samniveshitaha. By whom? Devarajna mahatmana. By Devendra, Devanam Rajna, Rajna, Devarajna, Devarajna, by him, by the Lord of the gods, Mahatmana, of the great soul, the Indra, you have been placed here. For what? Patada nilayanam surasanghanam paridaha. As a barrier between Patala and the earth. You have been placed as a barrier, because the Patala Vasins, those who are Asuras and those who are the demons, those who are likely to come up and then destroy the earth, the land. So you have been placed inside in this place only to stop them, because Tomesham Nyata Viryanam, those people who are Nyata Virya means they are known for their own strength. Punareva Utpatisyatam, those who are capable, potentially they may be rest for a while. Sometimes, these, the demons and such other things, they may not show up, but suddenly they will come. At that point, you cannot be caught, unguarded. So the Devendra had kept you as the protector. Therefore, Nyata Viryanam Punareva Utpadishyatam Patalasya Aprameyasya Dwaram Avrutya Tishtasi. You are here covering, closing the entrance to the Patala, and you are placed by Indra. Meaning what? The mountain is actually covering the mouth of the Patala. This covering that. Dwaram avritya tishtasi, you are. Therefore, you are very important in the creation. And tirya gurdvam adaschaiva shaktihi te shaila vardidum shakya shaktihi. You have the power to grow upward, downward, sidewards. Tiryak is horizontal, urdhva vertical, adaha down. You have ye shaila vardidum shaktihi te. You can grow any. So you don't need to move from here. You just have to grow. Where? Above the water. Tasmat sanchodayami. I summon you. Tvam uttishta girisattama. Now rise up. Here, uttishta does not mean don't get away from the base. Base has to be covered because those patala should not be opened up. But at the same time, you start to grow up above this water. Why? No, Mainaka will say, why do I need to do that? Sayesha kabishardulaha, this tiger of the monkey, among the monkeys, Vayu Tvam uparyeti, he will cross over you. Viryavan, the strong one, Hanuman, Ramakaryarthi, he the one who has taken the task of completing Rama's work. Bhima karma kamaplutaha, one who is capable of finishing most difficult task, Bhima karma. Kamaplutaha, he is now leaping in the sky, and he will cross over you. You will notice it. So you just rise up yourself in such a way that he will notice you and he will understand that here is a Mainaka Parvat for me to take some rest. Because he will not come down. He is flying in the sky. So therefore, he will not come into the water to take rest. Obviously not. So you have to rise up so that he can, as he is flying, he need not have to do anything. He just have to take rest and then from there only he has to fly. Please do that. In this way, Mainaka has been summoned by the Sarga, the king of the ocean. So what happened? Did he take rest? Let us take rest, no? We have been doing it for a few days now. Let us take rest. While Hanumanji probably is going to take rest at the hill, Mainaka mountain. Okay.
Aganita gunagana bhushan rama Ashrita vatsala jaya rama Ayodhyavasi Sita Rama Abad Bandhava Jaya Jaya Rama Dasharatha Nandana Shri Rama Dashamukha Madhana Jaya Jaya Rama Kausalya Sukhavardhana Rama Kamita Phalada Jaya Jaya Rama Papa Vimochana Shri Rama Pattabhirama Jaya Jaya Rama Janaki Jeevana Sita Rama Jaya Raghurama Jaya Siya Rama Vanara Sevita Shri Rama Varidhi Vandana Jaya Jaya Rama Hanumat Pujita Sita Rama Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Raghupati Raghava Raja Rama Patita Pavana Sita Rama Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Siyavara Ramachandra ki jai Pavana Sutta Hanuman ki jai Umapati Mahadev ki jai Bolo bhai sab santan ki jai Shri Sadgurunath